I can't help how my heart feels. I look at her and I just don't want to stop looking at her. And I want to just kiss her and just.
Hannah Brown is spilling some tea in her new book, and it's quite shocking. Hey guys, welcome back to another Bachelor Nation update. We have some piping hot tea on Hannah Brown's latest confession from her new book, but before we get into it, make sure that you subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any future updates. I'm your host, Gianna, joined today by Zachary Reality. So just to cut to the chase, Hannah Brown admits that she hooked up with Peter Weber. Zach, my jaw is still on the ground. I just have to know, what was your initial reaction to hearing this news?
I just didn't expect this. I didn't think that when I woke up today that Bachelor Nation would be buzzing yet again, because when like a big scandal happens in Bachelor Nation, like Bachelor Nation internet shuts down. Like it becomes such a big thing. Everyone's making videos and comments and memes, and it just like takes over. So I did not expect to wake up to this mess, no pun intended, since Hannah's book is called Bless the Mess. And Gianna, you're gonna have to run down the tea so we can really get into this, because I'm shocked. I'm shocked that this all has been revealed.
I'm right there with you, and I think all the rest of Bachelor Nation is feeling the same way that we do. So like you said, let's take a look back at her and Peter's relationship from the very beginning. So just to recap, Peter was Hannah's second runner-up on her season of The Bachelorette in 2019. And she even just revealed that it was a really hard decision for her to make. She says, quote, "I know he really did care about me and he's such a great guy. I was really confused." Her and Peter's connection was so strong, and I don't think anyone could ever forget them hooking up in a windmill during one of their dates.
4 times.
But she and 4 times. It's just still mind blowing to me. But she did end up picking Jed at the end of her season. But the two broke up before her season even aired, around the time that Peter started filming his season of The Bachelor. When he was announced The Bachelor, Hannah says that this actually helped to shield her feelings for him. But despite what she said, she did end up making an appearance on his season, which brought up a lot of feelings for these two. She just revealed that Peter told her off camera that he'd leave the show right then and there if she actually wanted to be with him, but she still wasn't sure if she wanted to, so she ended up leaving while he continued his season. He ended up getting engaged to Hannah Ann, but the two broke up shortly after his season aired in mid-January of 2020. Zach, after reviewing their past and knowing what we know now, are you surprised that they hooked up? Did you see it coming?
Oh my God. I mean, we give Peter so much flack for being the guy that went back to all of his exes. When you look at Hannah, she kind of did the exact same thing. Hannah is the girl version of Peter. She chose Jed, that didn't work out. Then she wanted to go back with Tyler, her runner-up. And then that didn't work out since Tyler moved on with Gigi Hadid at the time. And then she goes back to her second runner-up, Peter, her third choice. So Hannah is no different than Pilot Pete. So I know a lot of us like to give him all this flack and all this hate, but like Hannah was the same person. She was not ready for an engagement either. So I want to make that clear. Now, this part is so interesting because I remember Hannah showing up on Peter's season and it was like a joke. It was supposed to be funny. Little did we know she actually had feelings for Peter, and that door was still open. So when she went onto his season, she has to like revisit her feelings, and then all these things come up. And that off-camera moment was probably one of the juiciest parts. Peter saying, "I could leave the show right now for you." I'm like, mind blown, Gianna. But I'm wondering, and maybe you might know why, you may have an opinion on this. Why do we think that Hannah didn't just stay on Peter's season? If she still had feelings for Peter, if she wanted to explore that, why didn't she just like join the mansion and like date Peter with like all the other girls? And like, was Peter even like emotionally available to date these girls, or was he still thinking about Hannah the whole time? And that is why it was a failed engagement.
I like always think about this just because I'm like, did the producers make her leave? Because you're right. Like, why didn't she stay? I can't come up with a reason other than producers, forcing her to leave and maybe seeing if Peter was going to, run and follow her and the season was going to be canceled and it was going to be like a Claire Tayshia season all over again.
Claire,
But
yes.
I'm just not quite sure why. I mean, maybe if Hannah really did leave on her own. I feel like she was just kind of, like you said, going on as a joke, kind of playing around, but like low key being
Mhm.
serious and just seeing, what was up with that. And maybe after Peter was like, I'll leave right now with you, like I'm all in, I think that maybe
That's so
freaked her
Peter.
out in a sense. Like, but again, it's like, why would she go on with the intention seriously to get married to him at the end if he was saying, okay, I'll leave with you right now and get married? And then she's like, no. So, like she said herself, I think she was confused. I think he was confused. I really do think, like you said, Zach, they're so similar. They're like practically a
Yeah.
match made in heaven, but I feel like their lust for each other kind of outweighed their love for each other. I feel like these two both have some sort of commitment issues, and that's why they really never ended up working out. But after Peter broke up with Hannah Ann in January of 2020, and before he tried to reconnect with Madison in March, there was a brief period of time in between where he and Hannah Brown were both single. In fact, they even saw each other at Dylan and Hannah's engagement party and ended up leaving together. She even reveals in her book that they ended up in bed together but had no chemistry. And then Hannah found out that Peter had Madison on his mind. Peter did end up reconnecting with her at the beginning of March after the final rose ceremony, and broke up with her shortly after on March 12th. And then from there, as we all saw, Peter was hanging out with Kelly. He said they weren't dating. Then he said they were dating. Then he said they were moving in together. And then they broke up. Zach, if I had to pick the most mentally exhausting Bachelor alum to keep up with, it's Peter for me. I mean, I can't keep up with the amount of women he's dated and hooked up with. It's just, why is he like
And
this, do you think?
and how does he pull all of these girls? I mean, all of these girls are straight tens, like every single one of these. And I'm like, Peter is a good looking guy, but like we have seen him on the show. Like the boy, he's a mama's boy. He can't make up his mind. Like, I don't know what he has that all of these girls want so bad. And Gianna, we have to clarify because you mentioned so many Hannahs. There's Hannah Brown, the Bachelorette. There's Hannah G, who was engaged to Dylan Barber on Paradise, and that is the party where Peter and Hannah Brown like got back together, kind of, or saw each other. And then there's Hannah Ann. So we have three Hannahs. Just a lot of. There's also Hannah Montana, but that's another show. So many Hannahs. I don't know what Peter has that all of these girls want, but I don't even know how he is making this work going from one to the other. He needs to stay away from Bachelor women because it's just not working out for him. So it seems like to me, he hooked up with Hannah Brown in between, as you mentioned, between Hannah Ann before he got back together with Maddie. And then once him and Maddie broke up, then he went back to Kelly, who was his like 8th or 9th place on his season. And with all of this, Hannah Brown stays winning because she has her book coming out that is going to be a New York Times bestselling. Like, I am already pre-ordering the book right now or buying the book, whatever it is. Like, this book has so much tea. And Hannah Brown is in a relationship now. She has a new boyfriend. His name is Adam. They've been together for over 6 months and they seem really happy together. So Hannah Brown stays winning in all of this. She's the one dropping this tea. And Peter, Pilot Pete, is writing a children's book when all of his exes are spilling all of this tea. Go figure that, Gianna. Go figure that.
It really is hysterical. I mean, to me, Peter just emulates F-boy energy to a T. I mean, I've dealt with it in my own relationships. We've seen it in movies. We've all heard about it. And these men that have this, F-boy-esque essence somehow pull all these women, and they're just master manipulators, gaslighters, and they find a way to mentally toy with women to get them to come to them and stay with them and get away with hooking up with all of them practically back to back to back. And that's exactly what Peter's doing. And I just don't like it. I'm not a
And
fan, but as you mentioned,
and
Hannah
you know how he
Brown
can get away with it, right?
How can he get
And
away with this?
he can get away with it because these girls are basically told by producers that they're not allowed to talk because of the contracts and because they fell in love with the same guy on The Bachelor. So he's able to still play all of these girls after the season because they're all still hurt from the show and they're not allowed to talk until the reunions or tell-alls. So Pilot Pete is able to be so sneaky and get away with hooking up with all of these girls after his season. I mean, they could have had a Bachelor 2.0 with Peter, Like once the cameras stop rolling, roll them again, bring them again. I mean, it could have been a whole nother season, Peter after Bachelor. It would have been a great spinoff show.
You know what? I feel like you're onto something, and I feel like that's going to be something that's coming because I feel like they wanted to allot a certain amount of time to let him do all these things with the women, and they can't say anything because of their contracts. And then maybe in a year or two from now, we're going to see like a Peter tells all, like with all of his exes and ex hookups and ex side chicks all in front of him. Like I would
Sneaky
pay
links.
big money, honestly, to see that. And that's like the smartest thing that Bachelor Nation could probably do because as we know, like the franchise is tanking a little bit right now. So I feel like that would be a good revitalization for them. But as you did mention, Zach, Hannah Brown did spill all this tea in her newest book called God Bless This Mess. And oh, a mess it is. Her and Peter
It is
have
a
not
mess.
spoken since they hooked up. And she says, quote, things might not have turned out the way I expected, but I tried to learn from every moment. I don't wish ill on anybody, and I'm in a really good place. So the fact that they haven't spoken means that she did not ask him for permission to reveal any of this information or even give him a heads up about this. So, Zach, do you think Peter is shook right now? Should Hannah have even asked him for permission? I mean, how do you think he's going to react to all of this?
Yeah, it's definitely intimate details that Hannah revealed. However, they both went on a reality TV show. They're both in the public eye. So I don't necessarily think that she needs to give him, like, he doesn't need her permission because it happened. It's her life. It's her book. I mean, it's really, it's a fine line when you're writing a book because, and Hannah was saying this morning, I was listening to one of her interviews she did with Us Weekly. She was saying, it's like, I'm happy to share my story and all of my tea, as she said, but it's weird when you bring in other people into it, especially exes of hers, who were like her exes before she was on TV. But with Peter specifically, Peter was on a reality TV show. He's in the public eye, so he gets the nature of the game, and he's allowed to write his own book too if he wants. So I don't think she has to ask Peter. I think it would have been nice of her to give him a heads up so he wasn't blindsided. It doesn't seem like she did that. And I think that she probably should have given him a little bit of a heads up out of a courtesy and respect thing since they both were on The Bachelor. They're both public figures. They know it's going to hit the fan. But Peter is going to be addressing this all. He has a podcast, Bachelors in the City, which I was a guest on a couple months back. So you guys should totally check that out. But his podcast is going to be dropping tonight at 12 o'clock, midnight. And he's going to share his side and his reaction to Hannah Brown's side of the story and everything that she just revealed about their, hookup past his season. So we're going to have to wait until tomorrow or tonight if you want to stay up to hear Peter's side of the story because I am excited to hear what he has to say because it's juicy and it's tea and this is so much more interesting than like what's going on now with The Bachelor. Like Michelle's season is kind of dry. I mean, it's been no secret that those ratings have been low and like we're getting all of this Bachelor tea from a couple years ago. And this is when you get the real tea, Gianna, because once those contracts come up, once those NDAs are over, they can write these memoirs and everyone's complaining about how all these people from The Bachelor are writing books because everyone is writing a book. But like the books are giving us amazing tea. Like this is what we want to know. This is what we want to hear. And once again, we have Peter writing a children's book while all of these people are writing tell-all memoirs. Peter, write a book. Literally, we will read it. We won't buy it. Just write one.
I love everything that you just said. And you make a good point. You say that like this is what we as Bachelor Nation fans want to see. We don't want to see that made up drama. We don't want to see
Mm-mm.
those kind of scripted dates. We don't want to see that. We want to watch reality TV for actual reality. And this is reality. I mean, Hannah Brown is spilling things
It's the
that
tea.
happen off camera, off script, no producer driven. It's like, this is what we want to know. This is what we live for. And like, this is the tea that we are ingesting. Like, we're taking a break from Michelle's dry season, and this is what we're focused on right now. But Zach, I also would love to hear your take on this. Do you think Peter is, when he tells his side of the story on his podcast, do you think that he's going to tell a completely different story? Do you think he's going to kind of like sugarcoat what happened? Do you think he's going to I mean, what do you think he's going to say about what Hannah Brown just spilled?
He's probably gonna say a lot, because I remember when the whole Kelly and Peter breakup was happening, and I had to listen to Peter's podcast for the first time because I never, thought to listen to it. But once him and Kelly were having a breakup, and Kelly put her side of the story out in a podcast that she did, this was like a while ago. Then Peter had to go on his podcast and tell his side of the story, and it was different than Kelly's. And it really made me like understand Peter's side a little bit more. So I think Peter is going to reveal his side because we know that there are three sides to every story: Hannah's side, Peter's side, and the truth. So we're probably going to get some new tea, and we're probably going to be back here tomorrow, Gianna, discussing what Peter has said, because it's going to be a little different. There's probably going to be some similarities, but he's going to have a different perspective of what was going through his brain and his mind. And it's just so crazy to me how Peter is like this guy. Like Peter, every single time, it's like Peter this, Peter that. Like all of his breakups just keep playing out. And it's just like it never ends for him because Hannah's book is now out. Maddie's book came out last month. It's like, is Hannah Ann gonna write a book next? Is Kelly Flanagan gonna write a book next? Pilot Pete, like, will never have an end. And like Barb, she needs a book too. Like Peter's mom, she was a huge part of his season. She needs a tell all book as well because we cannot get enough of this, Gianna.
Yeah, like Barb, like what happened? Why did you raise your son to
What do
be
you
like this?
know?
Or maybe did you raise him not to be like this? Like, why is he like this? We need answers. And it's just crazy. I'm so interested to see what he does say on his podcast because, you know, in a podcast, you can tell a story for a half hour, an hour, more than that. All we have from Hannah right now is they were at the engagement party, they left together, they hooked up, there was no chemistry, and they never talked ever again. That's literally all we have. There's probably and definitely so many more layers that are going to be pulled back when he tells his side of the story. And yeah, you're just going to have to come back on shared news and we're going to be spilling all the tea. But for now, that is all we have for you guys for today. But as always, we want to know your thoughts about what Hannah Brown had to say
Yes, let
about her
us
and
know.
Peter Weber. Tell us down in the comments below. And again, make sure you subscribe to our channel and ring that bell so you don't miss out on any future updates. I'm sure we'll be updating you on this story specifically, and you will not want to miss that. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you want to give me and Zach a follow, our social handles are on the screen right now. Come and say hello, and we will see you in the next video. Bye!